West Denver. Sleep deprived and heavily caffeinated.
All right, let's do this then.
This is the Jeff and Bill Show.
I don't agree with that.
They don't always agree, but hey, at least they have coffee.
Coffee.
And each other.
I love you, man.
God help us.
I want to bless him. We need all the help we can get.
Now here's Jeff Hunt and Bill Thorpe. The Jeff and Bill Show on News Talk 710 KNUS.
It's 9 a.m. in the Mile High City on this Thursday, July 3rd, 2025. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned in to the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights, hottest takes from the right, left, and center. It's been jam-packed. Phone lines all day. Love it. So much engagement. We're talking the big, beautiful bill. We're talking cuts to Medicaid taking place through the bill. 21,000 undocumented Coloradans could lose Medicaid coverage. Colorado spending about $70 million a year on health care for illegal immigrants. Trump administration also withholding $70 million in K-12 school funding from Colorado. That money was targeted for English learners, so immigrant kids learning new English languages, migrant students, teacher training, after-school programs. Are all these cuts warranted? We're in debt. We're in debt as a country. We're in debt as a state. We're in debt as a city, in part because of services spent on illegal immigrants. They shouldn't be here in the first place. Is it good to cut this, or are we just cold-hearted? Let's go to the phone lines. Tony Littleton. Good morning, Tony. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Hey, good morning. So I think the place to start is to talk about what the bill is doing. I mean, just the facts of it. We know that it's projected to create $3.5 trillion in debt over the $28 trillion that we're currently at. That's a conservative number because that $3.5 trillion is supposedly being offset by growth.
Right, that's a CBO number.
Pardon me?
That number comes from the CBO.
Right, and the CBO has said the 5% number they have in the budget as growth will never happen. So
I thought it was 3%.
They've got 5% in one of the years. It will never hit 5%. But I don't want to get caught on any given issue because there's a bigger overarching issue. But the facts of it. So it's $3.5 trillion. 60% of all the benefit is going to the top 10 or 15% of the population. Every family under 55,000 is taking a hit. And with your safety net, changes or just the de minimis tax amount that they realize a break on. So those are kind of the basic facts. And I think there should be some clarification. You can't separate this from the illegal immigrant. I think it's important to note that the vast majority of immigrants, illegal or not, are paying taxes and Social Security. That the companies, these food processors and the construction companies, and these people are paying taxes. These employers are paying taxes on those employees, and they are paying Social Security.
Tony, does that offset the cost to them?
Well, hold on. I can't answer that exact question. What I can say is this: it's known that they're never going to collect the Social Security because they're illegal, but they pay the Social Security, and Social Security depends on that money to pay out Social Security that we currently pay. So that's a hit that shortens the life of Social Security if we get rid of all the immigrants and all the Social Security they paid that they're never going to collect. It actually puts a big hammer on the Social Security system and shortens the life of it. Okay,
that doesn't sound fair.
Well, that's a fact, though. Now, I wanted to clarify that because that was confused, a little earlier on a previous caller. So it's not so much what you think or what I think of these various, are these good policies or bad policies. The big deal is the investors who buy our debt think the country, they are questioning the U.S. as a safe haven. We are showing, normally when things are tough, they want to put their money into our debt, into our treasury bills, because they trust them. Well, they no longer trust them. That's why the rate is going up. And as that rate goes up, it's driving all other rates. We always hear how the Fed needs to drop the interest rate. They need to drop the interest rate. Well, we've got something going on counterbalance to that, and that is the bond rate is raising, which this has not happened since 1973. The last time the dollar fell as precipitously as it is now was 1973 during the oil crisis. Well, now it's falling again. Investors don't want to buy our debt. Japan actually, they didn't do it, but they said, we are considering selling our U.S. debt. The largest holders of U.S. debt in the world is Japan. And they put that out on the table. It was really a threat. They haven't done it. They're probably not going to do it.
So, Tony, help me understand why Japan's selling the debt.
They don't trust. They don't trust. They're looking at our country and saying, okay, you're $28 trillion in debt. You're adding at least $3.5 trillion, which is going to the very top end of your society. They're questioning our ability to pay back that debt that they're buying. That's never happened to us. We are kind of in this chaotic world, and the tariffs, all of that's combined to where the outside world, and this isn't my opinion, this is borne out by the bond rate. And as it keeps rising, this is what offsets any idea of growth. As that keeps rising, that drives all other interest rates up as well. Mortgages, car loans, credit card debt, all the investments that companies will make in building a factory, all those
Tony,
interest rates
I got a question.
Go up.
This is a text message question. 8422 wants to know, should we just leave all the illegal immigrants alone? Let them stay here.
What we need is an immigration policy. Look, I understand.
An immigration policy.
No. What we need. All right. So let's. It's a good question. Okay. What we need is people out there picking strawberries in the fields of California. 70% of the people in memory care units are immigrants. 70% of the employees. When these employees pull out, and I just heard one farmer from California, he's turning over 60% of his field right now because he's lost his immigrant workers.
Sounds like an argument for slavery.
It's not that they're paying terrible wages. It's that ICE is, after them, because now it's not just criminals. It's anybody who's here illegally. And so they're you can say that they're right. Look, I'm just answering the question. Your parents and my parents are past now. Most of our parents who go into a memory care unit, regardless of your status with Medicare or insurance, Medicaid is the one that pays for memory care, something like 75%. That's the money that's drying up. And when that money dries up, you will have your parents in your home to take care of them. And one thing that you should note, all the changes in the Medicaid policies don't happen until after the midterms. I wonder why that is. Because when that hits, and they're counting on people not understanding it, that people won't understand it before then. And you've got Hakeem Jeffries out there now. And by the way, didn't he speak for 24 hours recently? Wasn't he the one that did the 24-hour marathon?
I don't think so. Not according to Politico.
No. I mean,
Cory Booker.
Oh, that was Cory Booker.
Yeah.
It was Cory Booker that did the 24.
Tony, you're mixing up your black people.
I couldn't remember who had done that. Anyway, this is the bigger issue, Jeff. Is if other countries do not trust us as being the stable, safe haven country, and they're showing a lot of tendencies because they're not buying our debt. We have to raise the rates, and as we raise the interest rate,
I think it's because
they're projecting that we may be using $1 out of every $4 that we pay in taxes will be to retired debt. And what that means is when we do need to spend money for things like World War II, because the last time we were at this level, World War II, or when we have the Great Recession, or when we have COVID, and Trump / Biden both could put money into the economy, they could do it at a low interest rate. The very next crisis that hits our country, the very next one, is going to come at a much higher interest rate.
Tony, I do appreciate your commitment to reducing our debt. Thank you. It was nice to talk. Tony from Littleton, 303-696-1971. But I agree with this text message. This is from 8879, first-time texter. Tony does a whole lot of complaining without a lot of solutions. I kind of agree with that. All right. Did you have a question that came out of that?
Nah, I just, I think there are a lot of people who do a lot of complaining without solutions, and it's difficult. And I think Tony had some solutions there, but it's,
Nobody likes my solutions. That you should take personal responsibility for yourself.
I know, but you only believe that up to a point. So that's the other idea, is that if it was the idea of we're just all going to take personal responsibility to ourselves, then we should do things like, do away with healthcare in and of itself. You're not taking personal responsibility if you're getting into that situation. If you place yourself in an issue in which you took a job or something else happened and you lost a finger or so, is that your employer's fault or is it you, the personal responsibility? How far does that go?
Taxpayers' fault.
How does that possibly go? Should you take personal responsibility for the defense of not only your home to keep it away from crime and police? What about? I know, then don't call.
Bill, you're getting there.
Yeah, so the idea
Tanks
is
for everybody.
Yeah, then don't call 911 when something's happening to your
for everybody.
And then you're responsible for a fire at your own house. And what do we do about defending this country?
That's why I just said tanks for everybody.
Yeah. I'm sure that'll work out. We're
drones and F-35s, and yes, you should be able to buy it all. All right, we haven't even gotten to news and comment with Blake Olson.
No, we haven't.
Blake's like,
we could pull a Hakeem Jeffries. I know, but here we should pull a Hakeem Jeffries and not go to news until like 9:45 because he'd be stuck.
He couldn't do anything.
And the thing
is, like, I'm trying to get out for the 4th of July weekend, guys.
And what we should do for the next 45 minutes is just keep teasing that we're almost to go to him, so he can't get up and go to the bathroom. So we're giving him the Hakeem Jeffries treatment.
Well, what I would like to see, and we'll let him off the hook, is if he cries into a camera like Brittany Pedersen.
Hey, the dude's been in TV for a long time. I'm certain he can cry on demand. He's done those press conferences where it's like, they've won the championship, and it's beautiful. I'm sure he can. I'm sure the talent he has developed in his sporting career.
Let's go. Let's watch Blake cry.
Yes.
In 3, 2, 1.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
All right, I'll get the tears ready. I've got to prepare for this. Good morning.
You got to get in the right headspace, because you're a method actor. Right. That's what it is. You're method.
Exactly.
You just had a baby, Balake. You're angry. Your post. What is that called?
I just had a baby. We are in 2025.
Postpartum. Yeah, you're postpartum emotional. You got everything's raging right now. You've just been called back to D.C. on a bill that's going to harm rural Colorado.
Oh, this is something that I'll do it later. Later in the newscast.
This is later. This is your last segment.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, I'll do it in a minute. Hold on. I gotta like Billy says, I'm a method actor. It's Thursday. It's 72 and sunny. Expecting a high of 93 today. News is presented by the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. Now is the time to stand with Israel. Call 800-301-1188. That's 800-301-1188, or go to 710knus.com and click on the big red Stand with Israel banner at the top of the page. Our top story.
It's been a wild 24 hours just watching this go. And, of course, we had a very late night, kind of an all-nighter last night with all of the drama on the rule.
Colorado Congressman Jeff Crank at D.C. on with Jeff and Billy a few minutes ago. Great poll by Jeff.
But the votes are there now, it appears, and as soon as Hakeem Jeffries finishes up his speech. I suspect we'll have a 5 to 10 minute speech from Speaker Johnson, and the question will be called, and we'll pass the one big beautiful bill.
Yep. So Haywood Jeffries still speaking. I mean, Hakeem Jeffries still listening to his head rattle. Still speaking, gone on for about 6 hours now, trying to delay the big,
They actually have a
beautiful
timer
bill
now
vote.
up on C-SPAN.
Do they? Yeah, that's awesome.
The Jeffrey speech is at
That's
6 hours
great.
and 21 minutes.
I loved Crank talking about he was tired of hearing the lies. He was sitting in there. No, that's great. Hey, by the way, I called him Haywood Jeffries. He was, I mean, believe me, Hakeem Jeffries is no Haywood Jeffries, one of the great receivers for the Houston Oilers in the 90s.
And Haywood Jeffries holds on to it with double coverage. He's hit by Kelso and Odoms, 31 yards. The Oilers in Bill's territory.
Ah, he was so good. And Warren Moon. I digress. 47 plans a phone call with Russian President Putin today. It'll be the sixth time he's spoken to him since becoming the president this go-around. DJT is calling for the head of the Fed to resign immediately. Too slow. Jerome Powell hasn't lowered rates, and DJT is not happy with it, and neither are most Americans except for Tony. The monthly employment report is being beating expectations with the number of new jobs created in June. The Labor Department reports non-farm payrolls increased by 147,000 last month. 47 is scheduled to visit Des Moines today to give a speech at the Iowa State Fairgrounds. The event is the kickoff for the America 250 celebration, which will commemorate the nation's 250th anniversary next year. The president expected to speak at 5:30 Mountain Time, in case you were wondering. Sean Diddy. Sean Combs, the criminal, will stay in jail until sentencing after he was found guilty of transporting people for prostitution. He was found not guilty of the most serious charges against him, including racketeering and sex trafficking. Journalist Liz Crokin is on this thing, on with Benny Johnson, and believes, this guy has done almost everything and may overlap with Diddy and Epstein.
I think this is just the beginning. I think that this is good. There's going to be a much more that we are going to see with Diddy. This story is not over. And as you also mentioned earlier, and he mentioned, was he involved with drug trafficking? Was he involved in sex trafficking of minors? Was he involved with the sex trafficking of migrant children? And I strongly believe that he potentially was involved in all three.
Rockies lose to the Astros 5-3 today at 1:10. First pitch at Coors Field. 69 in Broomfield, 70 in Englewood, 72 in Denver. Jeff and Billy Show. The Jeff and Billy Show continues. Have a great Independence Day weekend. Blake Olsen to the Titans.
KNUS Denver.
The deeper monsoon moisture stays just to the west of us today. There'll be some showers and thunderstorms over the mountains and foothills west of the Divide, while sunny and warm east of the Divide. Highs 90s to the mid-60s tonight.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm here.
Mid-90s Thursday. Tomorrow and for Independence Day Friday, better
fantastic.
chances of afternoon and evening thunderstorms returning.
All right, Bill, you may need to clear
Thursday,
the
4th of July,
weather.
highs will be mid-80s.
Oh, is that what we're doing now? Sorry. Yeah.
Weather sponsored by Colorado's
crying right now.
He was crying, so he was crying. I was giving him space to make sure he got all of his emotions out. You know, it was the thing that I wanted to emotionally support you in this hard time and wanted to give you this time and to make sure that you got through it and you were able to cry it out. So
that's funny, man.
I was talking to Representative Boebert that's going to join us in a second too.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah, we just got Rep. Boebert on the line.
Yeah, look at us.
All right.
Doing the Cabbage Patch. Yeah, that's going to show we are.
There you go. Doing the cabbage.
Hell yeah. Kind of watching me on video sometimes.
That is awesome. I got to check it out. I'll go back and look at the replay. All right, man.
My mom is so proud.
Okay, I'll see you later. Have a great weekend. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
We have joining us right now Congresswoman Lauren Boebert, Congressional District 4.
Yes, formerly 3, now 4.
3, now 4
yes, it's
in
an upgrade.
Colorado.
She's ranked up, just like when you're playing Mario.
Yeah,
she's now on level 4.
But I want you to hear this audio from Brittany Pedersen, who's literally in tears about the idea that she has to go to work.
Hi, everybody. I lost my voice. We were forced back here. Took a red-eye flight. Haven't slept. We're here being forced back to vote on this disastrous budget proposal that is going to decimate our rural hospitals, healthcare that families, millions of families across the United States rely on, and increase costs for all of us for the private insurance market when we have this much uncompensated care. It's hard to hold back the tears with how bad this bill really is, the impact that it will make in Colorado and especially in rural Colorado. So I will keep you updated, but right now we have 2 people who are likely going to vote no. We just need 2 more. Your voices matter, and reaching out and telling your stories makes a difference. So thank you for tuning in, for fighting back, and I will keep you updated.
That's Brittany Pedersen, who can't find rural Colorado on a map, crying about how this big, beautiful bill is going to harm rural Colorado. And Lauren Boebert and the Republicans have dragged her away from Colorado. She had to get on an airplane and fly back and do her work. And the person that helped force Brittany Pedersen to do that now joins us, Lauren Boebert. She's on the line. Good morning, Congresswoman.
Yeah, why are you being so mean to making Brittany cry?
Good morning. Well, I wonder if she's going to post a new video because Hakeem Jeffries is holding her hostage for over 5 hours now as he is holding his magic minute on the House floor right now, filibustering the vote of this bill. So maybe she will start crying some crocodile tears in her next video for Hakeem Jeffries.
Well, you're exactly right. Hakeem Jeffries is now going on for hours and hours. There's even a clock on C-SPAN. He's been going for 6 hours, 29 minutes, delaying the passage of the big, beautiful bill. Now, Congresswoman Boebert, first question. It looks like this thing's going to pass. Is it going to pass and get to the president to be signed?
Yes, so I do believe we have the votes. Last night there was a lot of negotiations, a lot of work that I was personally involved in. We had a procedural vote that was held open intentionally for hours yesterday while conversations were ongoing here in Washington, D.C. between our leadership and White House, the administration, and with, of course, President Trump. And some of those who wanted assurances that the changes the Senate made were not going to be a complete disaster. And so it started with a meeting at the White House with the president and some House Freedom Caucus members. And we did receive some amazing assurances, especially when it comes to the Green New scam and just seeing how we can protect those dollars, claw back some of those dollars administratively, and then, of course, preventing illegal aliens from receiving Medicaid. The House version of this bill was stronger than the Senate version that was sent back to us, but we do have these assurances that illegals will be quickly removed from the Medicaid voter or the Medicaid rolls. And, also that's fraud, and that's another crime on top of being here illegally. So I do have confidence that there will be consequences for that fraud and, of course, being in our country illegally. But late last night, we were voting on the rule, and there were still some folks who had concerns. And so I personally spent time on the phone with President Trump. And I also want to give a shout out to Charlie Kirk because I called him to help in conversations and negotiations with these members. I felt a little bit of responsibility there because they're all my friends. These are the people I hang out with in D.C., and they were the ones who were not allowing the rule to pass so we could get to the actual vote. And so for more than a couple of hours, maybe three, the president, Charlie Kirk, and myself were all calling these members and communicating with each other, and we got the speaker involved as well. And we were able to finally get everyone to vote and pass the rule to move forward with this big, beautiful bill that will be a massive tax cut for Americans. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, no tax on Made in America auto loans, and we're going to have a permanent increases to the child tax credit, supporting over 40 million families, and a vote against this would have been the largest tax increase that we've ever seen.
It's Representative Lauren Boebert. She represents the Eastern Plains of Colorado, Congressional District 4. You're doing a really fantastic job of giving us an insight into how things happen in Washington, D.C. You said you were having conversations with some of these members that were kind of holdouts, but eventually came around. What was it that connected with them? What did you say? What did President Trump or Charlie Kirk say that got them to go, okay, I'm willing to get on board at this point?
Sure. Well, I'll give you the same summary that I started with the president and presenting to him. We saw the vote being held open, and he and I were texting back and forth, and then he called me, and I said, Mr. President, here's the deal. Some of these folks want assurances on the Green New scam to ensure that we are not spending hundreds of billions of dollars moving forward with wind and solar and propping up China. There are other members who want the assurances that illegal aliens are not going to receive Medicaid, that we're not going to be funding transgender surgeries for adults and children receiving this government benefit in Medicaid and CHIP. And there was also another member who wanted an assurance that there would be a lawsuit to end this suppressor registration. We got the $200 tax removed, and now without the tax, there's still a registration requirement that the Senate put back in, and we want a lawsuit to ensure that registration requirement goes away. And then also there was a couple of members who just like to have a personal call from the president, and I was able to name those names to him, and he said, well, those are easy. I'll start with them. And so we had to finesse a lot of these members to get them in a good place. But I'm really proud of the pressure that was put on this big, beautiful bill from the beginning, especially led by the Freedom Caucus and Freedom Caucus adjacent members, who really did get this bill to a much better place than it ever would have been without the pressure.
It's Congresswoman Lauren Boebert giving us insight into how Washington, D.C. operates. Man, what a gift to be able to understand that and to hear directly from you the process that took place. I know you have a very busy day. The fact you took time to help our audience understand this process and to celebrate the pending passing of the big, beautiful bill, in part because of your work, means a lot to us. Congresswoman, thank you so very much for taking time to join the Jeff and Bill Show.
Yeah, this is fantastic because you're like stuck in that meeting where one guy gets up to give a presentation and doesn't stop talking. And you're all looking at your watches going, I have stuff to do. This is ridiculous. Thank you so much for giving us time this morning. It's very kind of you.
Absolutely. You know, if he didn't pause 5 seconds in between every 2 words, he could have been finished by now. But he'll be out of here soon and home for the 4th of July. God bless you all. God bless America. We're going to celebrate our independence with this big, beautiful bill with a great president and great American patriots. God bless y'all.
Gosh, what a way to wrap up.
That's amazing.
That's fantastic.
So cool.
Thank you to Congresswoman Lauren Boebert for joining us.
Fantastic.
Man, we got some great friends.
Look at that.
To have her call in, to have Jeff Crank call in, to just give us updates.
Well,
hey,
here's
this is what's
thing.
happening. This is how we got this thing passed. Sorry, Kyle Clark, you ain't getting that interview today.
No, I'm here. Okay, but in the interest of fairness, you have some really cool friends. I have some really cool acquaintances. And I'm fine with that. Yes, I understand that the closeness of the friendship between you and Lauren and you and Jeff is different than the friendship that I have with them. And that is perfectly fair and that is acceptable. And I'm just happy that both of them don't try to punch me in the junk when I meet them, because sometimes I might deserve it. Just saying. I appreciate that.
Oh, my goodness. Well, let's talk Cato's Coffee, guys. If you're looking for a great coffee company where your purchase is going to go to support the pups out there, you got to check out Cato's Coffee. New sponsors of the show. We couldn't do this without them. Premium coffee, roasted to order, ensuring you get the freshest cup possible. They're pet and planet friendly, supporting animal welfare and eco-friendly practices. With every purchase, your morning cup contributes to positive change for pets and the environment. Delicious flavor profiles, expertly roasted for smooth, flavorful experiences every time. If coffee's not your thing, try their delicious teas. You can also shop their online merchandise. Find something for you and your furry friend. Upgrade your morning ritual with Cato's Coffee. Visit catoscoffee.com. That's KATOSKOFFEE.com. Cato's Coffee. It's named after Steve's dog, and it goes to part of the proceeds go to support animal welfare and eco-friendly practices. So find something that suits your taste today, and you can use the code JeffandBill10 at checkout for a 10% discount on your order. Use the code JeffandBill10 at checkout for a 10% discount on your order. All right, we'll continue. Joe, you're going to be up next. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader. And when all the cool congressional representatives come to talk, too. Huh, ain't that cool? Yeah, this is the Jeff and Bill Show. We're 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Wow, I don't think any other program has had Gabe Evans on yesterday, Congressman from the 8th Congressional District. Jeff Crank on this morning, giving us live updates from Congress, and then Lauren Boebert giving us insight into how they closed the deal on the big, beautiful bill. This is just amazing. Thank you to all of those folks. Evans, Crank, Boebert, keeping us up to date, giving our listeners the best information.
Yeah, we found out stuff about that bill that nobody else does from Lauren. That was fantastic. That was so cool.
Dude, it's good to have good friends.
Yes.
For sure.
And sometimes people just tolerate you on the other end of the phone line, which is me. Yes, I appreciate that.
Let's talk Mountain High Appliance. They're celebrating Independence Day with exclusive savings from GE Profile, where you can save up to $4,000 on select KitchenAid packages. Enjoy Mountain High's price match guarantee and special financing options. Summer is the perfect time to take advantage of these limited time offers and upgrade your kitchen or start that remodel. When you think appliances, think locally owned Mountain High Appliances. This is a great time of year to get those deals with Mountain High Appliance. Let's go to Joe in Arvada. Good morning, Joe. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Hi, Jeff, Billy. I am so proud that I contributed to Lauren Boebert's campaign. It's the best money I've ever spent, or some of it, besides President Trump, of course.
She's delivering, man.
Yep, she is. And on the other hand, my congressperson is, yes, Brittany Pedersen. She needs to get some history books. Brittany, sooner or later, you run out of other people's money. That is the lesson that Democrats have never learned. And this big, beautiful bill, although, yes, expensive, this is the first step in the right direction. You have to take your medicine before things get better. You've heard the expression, things have to get worse before they get better. That's what the big, beautiful bill is. We spent on prophylactics in Uganda, but we didn't make America better. That's what the big, beautiful bill does. It gets our priorities straight, and then, yes, Billy, we can cut the budget. Yes, Tony, we can cut the budget. We should start being self-reliant. What America was founded on, self-reliance. Every Democrat needs to open up their encyclopedia and start reading about self-reliance.
Yep. Joe, great way to finish the show for us as we head into the 4th of July weekend.
Have a good weekend.
Really appreciate your phone call. Let's talk Dan Kaplis with Dan Kaplis Law. I've known Dan well over a decade. Pro-life, pro-family, pro-faith, pro-America. He's right there with us on these issues. That matters because who you choose to represent you in an injury case says a lot about you to everybody involved in the case. Dan has dedicated the last 40 years of his life delivering justice for people who are hurt in serious motor vehicle crashes. Dan is believed to be the only lawyer in Colorado history to win 5 straight multi-million-dollar verdicts in Colorado crash cases. Dan is also believed to have won the largest truck crash verdict in Colorado state history. Dan Kaplis Law is the official law firm partner of the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche. Dan Kaplis Law is a serious firm for serious cases. Dan accepts righteous injury cases on a percentage fee basis so that he can represent good people from all walks of life without regard to ability to pay. So if you need Dan's help, give him a call. Here's the phone number, 303-770-5551, 303-770-5551, or hit dankapleslaw.com. That's Dan, C-A-P-L-I-S law.com. We're going to ride into the weekend this 4th of July with some cowboy poetry. Coming up next, you're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. We're joined here by Jeff Hildebrandt, who's going to give us some cowboy poetry to get us into the 4th of July weekend. Look, let's talk advanced hair restoration. This is a great time of the summer to get your hair worked on. Advanced Hair stands by the results. Their before and afters are second to none. With Advanced Hair, your own natural hair is guaranteed to grow. Secondly, Advanced Hair combines top-rated physicians with modern technology, creating a concierge quality experience that's hard to find elsewhere. And lastly, Advanced Hair's Advanced FUE begins regrowing your own natural hair the very next day. It's quick, it's simple, and it's easy. Now, if you have some flexible schedule this summer and you've been waiting for that special savings opportunity, it's here. Advanced Hair's Summer Savings Event will get you the most hair for your dollar. It's their best offer ever. For details and to schedule your free consultation, call 720-459-HAIR. One-day treatment, life-changing results, your new hair guaranteed to grow. Before and afters at advancedhair.com. Give them a call, 720-459-HAIR or advancedhair.com. All right, Mr. Hildebrandt, you got some 4th of July cowboy poetry for us, sir.
I do. It's called Independence Day. July the 4th, we celebrate our beginning as a nation. We wave the flag and fill the sky with explosive celebration. Then we stand and praise the land, its mountains, plains, and valleys. We march the streets with heads held high while people sleep in alleys. The homeless just won't go away. In fact, the problem's worse, and dependence on the government has become this nation's curse. Now, the stars and stripes that I salute are symbols of salvation. The stars are those my father made and tell of his creation. The stripes show courage for a cause that bought my liberty. They're lash marks suffered by the Lord who sacrificed for me. My independence came the day God's victory was won, when I accepted Jesus Christ and said, "Thy will be done." So I'll salute Old Glory, may she proudly wave on high, but the cross has my allegiance and will until I die.
Amen.
Wow.
Amen. Jeff, thank you for weaving together our faith, this America's Independence Day, the great values that make America so strong. That was a fantastic poem, brother.
Yeah, that was wonderful.
Thank you, sir.
Well,
Thank you.
Jeffrey, I want to wish you a very happy Independence Day. Bill, to you as well.
Yeah.
Enjoy time with your family. Bill and I are going to be off tomorrow. Most of the station will be into national programming. And then next week, Pete Boyles is going to be filling in for Bill and I as we enjoy some vacation time.
I think, Mr. Hildebrand, you will have next Friday off as well. So enjoy the 2 weeks off, and we will catch up with you in a few. And please have a happy 4th of July with you and your wonderful wife and the family.
All right. Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you.
Thanks. Appreciate it. He's fantastic. And I hope everybody has a great 4th of July. Go out there if you want to do the Joy Chestnut thing, stuff your face full of hot dogs, part of the celebrations. But
he's back, by the way.
Yeah, he is. He's back.
The feud is over.
Yes, the feud is over. He's back there at Nathan's Hot Dogs, so we'll have to see, can he defend the title that he held for so many years.
Do you remember what the feud was over?
No, I don't actually.
So he started accepting sponsorships from vegetarian hot dogs. And Nathan said, "You only eat our hot dogs." And he's like, "They're
funny.
different. They're vegetarian hot dogs.
Yeah,
I'm not competing." So the feud was whether or not he was violating his contract.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny for the meat dogs and non-meat dogs. There's a question that the meat dogs are meat dogs. There's a real question there, too. Oh, man.
Well,
okay, wait. Biggest question here, okay, for a 4th of July weekend. We're talking about it. What in the world do you put on your hot dog?
Oh, for me?
What is it? Yeah, what are your toppings?
So, ketchup, mustard, cheese, and then Tabasco.
Tabasco?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
That's how I eat my hot dogs.
Interesting. Okay, what kind of mustard? Is it the bright yellow stuff, or
French's.
So just the bright yellow, the boring bright yellow?
You could do. You do Grey Poupon?
Occasionally I'll do the Dijon stuff, but if I'm doing the burgers, Dijon for me goes on brats. If I'm doing just regular burgers, yeah, just a regular hot dog, ketchup only. And I know that is a heresy for many people, especially those in Chicago.
You do ketchup only?
Yeah, only ketchup.
Chicago dogs are awesome with all the different trimmings and tomatoes and stuff like that.
They just load them up,
Yep.
No, I just ketchup. That's it. I'm not a huge hot dog fan to begin with anyway, so it's probably part of it.
That's your communism speaking.
Or the idea that I like to know kind of what goes into my food. It's not just all the leftovers and let's just put it in this sausage casing. Let's see what happens. Someone's going to eat it. Especially if I've had 3 Bud Lights. They'll enjoy this a lot.
Yeah, you would have Bud Lights. I'll be drinking my Coors Light and eating my hot dogs. And that, my friends, is what makes this show work.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful 4th of July. And hey, each and every one of you better return here on Monday with all your fingers. I'm just saying, we'll be watching. Just, got to do that.
Hey, seriously, though, this was a show that we weren't expecting.
Yeah, this is fantastic.
Everybody's engagement, from Bill's to the callers to Lauren Boebert and Jeff Crank calling in. A lot of this was unexpected.
Incredible.
On the final day before the 4th of July, from the bottom of my heart, and from Bill's too.
Yes.
Thank you to all of our great listeners that make this Denver's top talk radio show. It's you that do it. We love you all. Have a great 4th of July. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
We are Denver's talk leader, and we can't tell you how much you mean to us. We are 710 KNUS.